Well, good afternoon. Whoa, hi. I do want to apologize. I took my SATs this morning, so I'm a little out of it. If I lose my concentration, it's probably going to be momentary, but I'm still thinking about algebra and all that. So you heard most of what my mom said, and that's really in detail what she felt as a, subconscious child. I didn't realize all of the stuff that was going on, but it did affect me. I was born in 1997, so I'm still, really young. My parents at the time were not married, as my mother said. And just for reference, Richmond in the 1990s, I looked it up, it said that Richmond's homicide rate, which is driven primarily by gun violence, has been among the highest in the nation for cities with populations exceeding 100,000. So where I grew up had the highest homicide rate. I lived right in the city of Richmond too. We lived in a safer area called the Fan, but still all of this impacted us. That's, what I grew up on. As my mom said, she wasn't around too much for my childhood. So I grew up basically with Richmond Public Schools as my moral code, which, public schools in Richmond, they're great. So around age 4, my parents got divorced, and I'm living in this, horrible area, just trying to make my way, and, my dad wasn't around. He moved to a couple places down the street, but I saw him once a week, twice a week maybe. So I had my mom, and she was working in the corporate world. She traveled, she did a lot of things I didn't get to see her. She worked for Black Friday, she did a lot of things. I didn't get to spend any holidays with her. So it's always hard, with that. But I started going to school, and the school's like right next door. It was really cool. And so all my friends lived in the area, and I started looking for this father figure because I felt like I needed one. I had my mom around, but I felt like I needed a father figure because I wanted my parents to be together. I wanted to have that perfect family, with the mother and the father and the kids, and that's what I wanted. And so I spent my whole life trying to find this perfect guy who's going to be the perfect father figure, who's never going to leave me or forsake me. I'm just trying to figure out life and go through all this, and so throughout my life, I didn't really have many friends that were women or girls because I was trying to find this father figure, so I always hung out with guys. And as I was making one of my first friends that was a girl, this is around 3rd grade, I got to get to know her. And during a New Year's party, right before, she and her family were brutally murdered. It was really hard for me, because, I was just getting to know her, and then all of a sudden, and the thing that stuck out to me the most was that they murdered them because their door was open. That's literally the only reason that they came in there and murdered them. And it's gruesome. So I felt like the whole world was just abandoning me. I had nowhere to go, I had no one to turn to. I had no idea what was happening. I was terrified and, trying to find this father figure. I felt like my mom needed a guy to rely on, so I felt like, I'll be this tough person that my mom can trust in. And so I became like her. I became this harsh person, and I just wasn't very nice. I wasn't loving, I wasn't kind. I was a real jerk. So, as my mom said, that we tried out a bunch of different religions, so I got used to this idea of, we'll try this religion for a couple months and then we'll move on, and we'll try this religion for a couple months and then we'll move on. So when she started bringing me to church, I was like, oh, this is just a phase, we'll be past it in a little bit. And so I didn't take it seriously, I didn't take it to heart. I was just kind of like, whatever happens is whatever happens, it's not going to matter in a couple months, so why get all invested? But we did meet this one family, the Jenkins, a single father with 2 girls around my age, and I became best friends with them. They were my everything. I loved them, and they started to slowly minister to me, and I saw that the love that they had in them and the joy, and of course, they had to move. And, I thought that, honestly, I don't know, Mom, if you know this, but I thought that you were going to marry Mr. Jenkins. And I was going to have these two girls as my sisters forever, and it was going to be so much fun. And, we were going to live life, and it was going to be great. But then they had to move. And we get a phone call a little while later that Mr. Jenkins had committed suicide. So this man who was my father figure had now committed suicide. So I just was going through, and like everything in my life was falling apart. There was that, my mom talked about the guy that she was dating for 2 years that just up and left. I thought she was going to marry him too. Every single person in my life I felt like was leaving me, and that no one is there for me, and I'm just broken and alone, and there's no hope. And so I realized, well, maybe since we're still Christians, maybe there's something in this, And then my mom met Bill, and I was so excited because Bill was awesome and exciting. Some of you know him. He's lots of fun. And he was just a perfect person to me. And so I remember the day that my mom married Bill. It was great. It really was. But there is this little part of me that died that day because I still thought that I was going to be able to have the perfect family with only one mother and one father, because that's all I wanted. But now my dad's married to my stepmom. I love them. I don't get to see them very often. But, I figured instead of having 4 parents, I just want 2. I just want 2 parents to live together in a house and that we can just be a full family. But, there's such blessing in having 4 parents. Not only all the Christmas gifts, but you have 4 people there for you all the time, it's just so much fun. But when that little piece of me died, I went back into this really depressed, what am I going to do now with my life phase? And a little while later, Bill decided that we were going to go on a mission trip to Mexico. And this was really the turning point in my faith. I was like, okay, I get to go spend time with Bill in Mexico. I'm learning Spanish. I'm really excited. It's going to be lots of fun. And we're traveling. We get down there, and there's these people in the streets who have literally nothing, and in worse situations than I've been in. And they're turning to God and worshiping Him and loving Him with all of their heart. And I'm sitting there like, how can you do this? You're living on the streets with nothing. How can you worship God? I was just in awe of their faith. So when I get back, we do this retreat thing with my old school. And it was just I went there and they did the altar call. And I was like, you know what? I really should give my life to Christ. So I did. And everything in my life changed. I was really excited. I was really happy. I joined the worship team at my church and at my school, and it was just so much fun. I get to worship God every day, and I get to learn about Him, and I get to have fun with all my friends. And then my mom tells me that we're moving to Williamsburg. And I'm like, all right, now I'm leaving everything, because I'm leaving Richmond, I'm leaving all my friends, I'm leaving everything that I've known, and most of all, I felt like I was leaving my faith. I felt like I couldn't love God or learn about Him outside of that school, outside of where I got to know Him. So I was so grounded in this place instead of in God that I felt like if I leave, I'm never going to have Him again. But we did move, and we found Crosswalk, and we found all the people here, and it just changed me. I thought I was a good Christian then, and now it's just changed me so much. It's amazing. I've been able to lead worship for the past year at my school, and that has just been life-altering. Seeing students praising God, and most of all, getting to lead them in worshiping God, it's such a blessing. I've been able to give sermons at my school and here, and it's just, I've seen how great God is, how He can take me from this person who's so broken and so lonely to someone who's living full out for God whenever I can. So I just want to tell you guys, in whatever situation you're in, God can always pull you out. There's always a plan. I've had people coming to me these past couple weeks, they're like, I don't think God has a plan for my life. I don't know how he can work through this. And I'm like, he can. You just gotta trust and wait, because in the end, it's all gonna work out for his glory and his kingdom. So thank you guys so much.